What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to this week's Anfield Agenda LFC Transfer Room crossover news show. I was hoping by the time this came around that I could talk to Chris and Charlie and maybe have some news on Carvalho or Luis Diaz. And we do have a little bit of news on Diaz, but it won't be what you fuckers want to hear. So, with that in mind, welcome, Charlie. Always lovely to have you on again, my man. I hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm good, my man. I'm good. I'm very excited, actually, because this beauty arrived today. I've been holding it here all day, waiting for it. My Let It Go Monero centenary shirt. 7 months ago, I ordered this. 7 months ago. But I tell you what, lads, she was worth the wait. Beauty of a shirt. So before I move on, say hello to Chris and Paddy, because you don't really get the big hellos. You know, you're regulars. You're every week.
Exactly.
You know, Charlie gets the extended welcome. You know, the 12-inch Platinum Club edition. So... One thing I want to just point out today, gents, is I'm on an email list for a couple of travel agents for Liverpool trips. So I got an email in today, and I posted it into our WhatsApp group. So the final against Chelsea in February, 2 nights in a hotel and a match ticket. So no travel involved in this. 2 nights in a hotel and a match ticket. Bear in mind, the hotel prices is per person sharing. So I looked into it. You can get a hotel in and around Wembley for 100 quid for a room. So for 2 nights, 200 quid, 50 quid a person a night. So let's say 100 quid for the cost. 799 of your Irish euros, Paddy, for the privilege of going to the game. So basically about a 650 quid markup on the ticket. Well, no, 600 quid markup, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's disgraceful, isn't it? It really is disgraceful. And you know it'd be in the general place as well, where with everyone, with all the prawn sandwich people, prawn cocktail.
You definitely will need a pair of binoculars if you're going with the tickets.
It's a tough one, but it's like some people will be forced to pay that price if they want to go, because you're not going to just be able to get a ticket off someone. So it's an unfortunate indictment of how exclusive they are and how elusive they are. Like I paid 300 quid just to go to the Villa game. That was just for the match ticket, basically. So, considering it's a final with a chance to see Liverpool win something at Wembley, it's extortionate, but it's probably the going rate, as grim as that is.
Oh, yeah. I came to the conclusion, right? So, with your flight, another 200 quid probably for the flight return. About $1,000, in and around $1,000. So, I sat there with Sabrina, and she said, do you want to go? Like, I've no problem if you want to go. And I said, no. And we ended up booking 10 days in Lanzarote for the four of us for 1,950 quid flights and accommodation. So, yeah, I mean, it's scandalous. It is. I'm just refusing to pay those prices anymore. I've been through too many of those type of match packages over the years where I've been fleeced. So I'd rather have a family holiday than that. But maybe that's just the stage in life I'm at. Chris, how the hell have you been, my man? I feel like it's been a minute since we spoke.
I know, mate. I've been good though. Been working hard. It's been all university and go really. And my girlfriend's just handing in a dissertation, so she's all getting pretty buzzing. But apart from that, I'm pretty good.
Delighted for Izzy. Well done. You forgot to mention that you just had a nap, you old bastard.
I did. I didn't mean to have a nap, but I had one of my £1.50 pizzas from Tesco, and I was like, you know what? I just put my head against a pillow and it went, and I woke up at a 22:09, so about 15 minutes ago.
Gents, before we get stuck into the transfer business, I want to just say something today, and I don't care if I get flack for it, but the AFCON and the shambolic fucking nature of it need to fuck right off, because Sadio Mane should never, ever, 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 ever have been allowed to continue on in that game today. And I'm glad he came off the pitch, and I'm glad he looks well, but look, I'll leave our regulars for this, and I'll come to Charlie first and say, mate, I don't know if you've seen the incident, I don't know if you watched the game, but that is like a poster boy image for concussion protocols and what should have taken place.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't watching the game, but I saw highlights of it, and I mean, both of the players, Mane and the keeper, are completely unconscious in midair. Like, you can tell, like, the way Mane falls, he's just like loses all control of his body, and you know, maybe it's probably a case of Mane wanting to play on. And, you know, he got the goal, but obviously he shouldn't have been on the pitch. That's where doctors sort of have to take the the whole like you have to say no, you're coming off, because after the goal he collapsed on the floor and had to be taken off. So it's it's a bad look for AFCON, but honestly, I don't think nobody will regret it in the Senegal camp, which is unfortunate. Probably Mane either, because he took his the country through to the quarterfinals. But yeah, it's not a good look. Will he's meant to now be out for 2 weeks because of the concussion. Will he be out for 2 weeks? I highly doubt it. So that I think this is going to be a situation that's going to keep on going for the next game that Senegal's in.
Yeah, Paddy, look, I mean, I have a different part of this I want to come to Chris on, but before I do, Paddy, look, you will understand the player. Any sports person, man or woman, will want to be a warrior and carry on. That's why they are where they are. It's in their nature. They're determined people. And Sadio obviously wants to represent his country, do well in a game that's in the balance like that. So I can completely understand why he'd want to play. But sometimes, mate, the medical staff, the coaches, they need to save the player from themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, as you said, from an athlete's point of view, the natural thought is to stay on, but it should be taken out of their hands. They should be intervened by the referee, the staff, and I can imagine Jurgen Klopp and his medical team watching that, vehemently angry at him being allowed to stay on, because it's just extremely dangerous and careless. Head collisions are no joke. You know what I mean? That could be, maybe he seems okay now, but there could easily be a prolonged issue there. Mane should have been taken straight off. I know he scores, but it's irrelevant. Player welfare is key here, and it should have been taken off straight away. It's truly baffling. I really just hope there's no, as you said, prolonged. I know Charlie was saying it could be a 2-week thing, but I'd imagine he'll be in the next game for Senegal. You know what I mean? As soon as he's proven fit. And it could be a case of a bit of a battle with Liverpool right now Liverpool will probably be asking him not to play. And listen, I don't know. If he's proven fit to play, fair play, but it's just, you don't want to mess with head injuries. It's a very precarious situation.
Certainly is. And look, Chris, in another story and an entirely different situation, we want to just, of course, send our condolences, our love and our thoughts and prayers to those who sadly passed away in a crush outside after the Cameroon game. We don't like to see these scenes in football, and certainly this is not an Africa-only problem, mate. It has happened elsewhere, and we're not trying to score cheap points here, but it is a very disturbing thing, and I don't want to say I hope everyone's okay, but unfortunately we know that isn't the case.
Yeah. Overshadowed what was probably one of the best games of the tournament yesterday for Comoros. I mean, an outfield player in goal, and that free kick that they scored. I know you guys probably have seen it. It was unbelievable. But just seeing, all of this stuff that's gone on and off the field for AFCON, it's a real shame, because some of the games have been crap, right? And yes, there's been some admin issues, but it's a massive tournament for these guys. And we had Jeremy on the channel, the former Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Middlesbrough guy. Charlie interviewed him. And he was saying how much it means to everyone in Cameroon to be hosting AFCON. And it's just a shame that it's so shambolic. And sadly, the loss of these lives is reflective of it.
Yeah, look, it is. It is a terribly, terribly sad state of affairs. And the Cameroonian people have been amazing in embracing the tournament. Certainly, I've seen some of the images of them queuing up to get their tests so they could go to games. And certainly, even watching the Senegal game today, you see the fancy dress and the guys in the stands and the ladies. It was brilliant. It looked amazing, and you can see how much it means to everybody. So, yeah, from that point of view, we hope the tournament continues to progress and everything is safe and well. Want to get into transfers now, though, gents. And just before I was getting ready to come on here, a player who we've been linked with, someone who Paddy would certainly like at Liverpool, looks like he's in talks with Tottenham Hotspur, and that is, of course, Luis Diaz from Porto. Anybody want to go first? I mean, I'm open. The floor is open if anybody wants to jump in. I have my own theory on it, by the way. I wonder are they going, trying to kind of pressure Wolves here a little bit and go, well, look, you think we're just after Adama, but we also have this other option. Or do you think we could see a case where they both come in?
Go on, Chris, you go.
Oh well, I just think it's the money that they're paying. We've been linked with Diaz this January. We've been saying it's about 50-60 million pounds. Tottenham have bid 40. Now, I can't see. I'm pretty sure there's bids been rejected. If what I've read is true. So, to be honest, I sort of am with you, Craig. But I think the gap in quality between Diaz and Traore is so big. I'm not sure that he would be used as a smokescreen for him, rather the other way around. If you know what I mean. Like I can't see him, Tottenham using Diaz as a smokescreen for Traore. I think it's just like that's going a bit too far. But yeah, if any club does get him, I expect it to be Spurs now.
On this one, Charlie, for you, mate, do you think that 40 million, 45 million will get the job done for Luis Diaz?
Not a chance. We've spoken when we had the account. It will be back. When we had the account, we'd spoken to a fair few Colombian journalists, very well respected in Colombia and Portugal as well. Every single answer we got was Luis Diaz will not leave in January for any less than his €80 million release clause. And then they said summer Porto are open to selling for 60 to 70 million. So there's not a chance that they'll even, as soon as that comes into their office, they'll throw it out the window because it's not beneficial for them. They're not going to be able to get anyone of his quality. And, Diaz probably isn't fussed about leaving to Spurs halfway through the year. Maybe Liverpool's a different proposition, but Spurs they're only in the Premier League or they're in the FA Cup too. But, maybe if they were in the Champions League, he'd think about
not
it.
Even, I don't think.
Yeah, so it's an absolute non-starter. But what Chris was saying about the smokescreen for Adama Traore, I think I can see that because Wolves seem to be holding on to this 25 million, 30 million that they want for Adama, and I think it was 20 million that they bid.
No goals and no assists this season, by the way.
Yeah, so it's
you got Diaz, who's got 13 goals this season. I don't know why the gap's like that.
I honest to God, I think it might be agent talk as well. It might be Adama's agent doing it. But there's absolutely no chance. But if let's say it is serious, Liverpool will know if it's serious or not. I'm still convinced that we're going to sign Luis Diaz this summer. The rumours that were going around, I can't see us not being in for him. So if this was real, I think we would have seen, Liverpool jumping on it straight away and matching Tottenham's bid, which hasn't been reported yet. So yeah, I think it's a non-starter for Spurs.
I want to come to Paddy on this. I'll lead in with this, and thank you for the super chat, my man. Said, look how proactive City are. 25 million for Alvarez, I think is the guy you're talking about from River Plate. That's what a club wants. To win everything, never rest. Kills me that FSG are holding us back. It's annoying. The reason I brought that up, Paddy, before I came to you is we've spoke a lot, mate, in recent streams about other clubs being more ambitious than us. Villa, as an example. Now we're seeing Spurs looking to do business. It is really frustrating, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that super chat is preaching to the choir, believe me. I hate this narrative that Liverpool don't need anyone or anything like this. We're so perfect. It really annoys me. We always go on about how we have the best this, best that in the league. But there's some question that to be asked. If we have all these best things, why haven't we won more things? And the reason is Man City and their and again, I know they are a different animal to us, but that business of going to getting Julian Alvarez from River Plate for 20 million is shrewd business. He's the next reincarnation of Kun Aguero, and I know it's a lazy comparison, but it's similar enough. And he's going to be a star. And the fact that it's almost unchallenged is just baffling. I'm not saying we necessarily needed that striker, but it's just that bit of business that people cry about. Oh, we're not going to be able to spend this much money on such and such. That's fine. We're not asking for superstars, as we always say. We're asking for that sort of shrewd business. Go and look in the market. There's players out there that will help us unknowingly. They will help us. But again, FSG they seem to I don't know what their plan is. It really worries me. We always talk about it, but I'm just kind of in limbo here. I know there's been reports this week about a big summer coming, but it's a case of I'll believe it when I see it. But Luis Diaz example, there's another guy. If the Spurs report is true, Again, I really hope we'll be jumping on that and matching their bid at least, to show that we're still interested. Because again, as we said, there's no way he goes for that little. So at least throw a bid in just to give something,
Here's where I really get lost, Chris. So what Paddy's talking about there is maybe a 60 million quid player. We've seen nobody wants to even pay 7 million euro for Zakaria at the minute. But what I don't understand is the nickel and diming over the Fabio Carvalho thing. I mean, £5 million and a loan back for the rest of the season to Fulham. Get this kid tied up and everybody's happy. I don't understand why we're taking unnecessary risks, even if we think we'll get him in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, the workings of Fenway Sports Group and the way that Liverpool deal in the transfer market is a mystery to everyone, really. Because one minute you think they're looking for quality and the quality's there and it's available for cheap. But then they go out and splurge money on a different target. But the thing is, I don't think we will go and just bid on someone for the sake of it or buy someone for the sake of it. And part of me that's like,
I want to pull you up there though, Chris, because that implies that this is a risky fly-by seat of our pants transfer. We've looked at this kid for ages.
Absolutely not. You're right. You're right. But I think they are looking so meticulously into where they can either save money or find a better option. And when they can't, they will go for that player. I think that's happened with Van Dijk. I think it happened with Konate as well. I think Konate was one of about 53 centre-backs we were linked to, which is ridiculous. Like they will wait if they think there's a better option. I don't think that with Carvalho, you need to even think about that because it's about a potential future midfielder for you who's absolutely ridiculous in the Championship this season. 8 goals for a 19-year-old who is actually, I spoke to Jack Collins from the Fulhamish pod of The Athletic, and he said that he is their best player this season. He has been their best player. Everything's gone through him. And for a 19-year-old to do that in the Championship is ridiculous. Like, for money, 5 million is pocket change, if that. It's arcade money for FSG. Why can't they just go and get it? I don't know. And it's the world's greatest mystery.
See, what gets me is, right, let's be cynical about this. I'll come to you on this, Charlie. So if FSG are unsure on Carvalho or there's some stupid doubt in their mind, buying him now, 5 million, loan him back to Fulham for the rest of the season. Guarantee you by the end of the season, his value will have at least doubled, if not more, if he keeps putting in those performances and helps Fulham get promoted. We've seen Chelsea do tremendous business in moving on and loaning on some of their young players for ridiculous profits, or ones that have even just moved on, like Bro has an example there at Southampton. His valuation's flown up. It just seems like silly business to not look to bring these lads in, develop them, or shift them on if they don't work to generate more cash.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I said it a few weeks ago. Like I said, I think this will happen, and we'll buy him and loan him back because even weeks ago it made sense to me. That's what you do. We don't need Carvalho. Fulham want to keep him for 6 months. Why don't we just buy him now and not be at risk to other clubs? Because it seems like at the moment we're the only club genuinely interested in him. But when he's out of contract, he's probably going to have all top Premier League clubs, people who can probably offer him more money, more time in the actual squad. So it's it's stupid that we're doing it because look at the Crystal Palace, really good example. Eze, Elise, they signed them and they were producing similar numbers to what Carvalho is
at Reading, if my memory's right.
Elise was at Reading. Yeah, I don't think Eze. Yeah, so it's
Eze was QPR.
QPR. Yeah, so it's I don't know how much they spent on them, but maybe like 20 million if I'm not mistaken. So it's the fact that we're getting someone same potential, maybe better, is crazy to think that we're not just giving them the 7 million. On the part of FSG, though, it's like we say FSG, but it's not John Henry sitting there. They're saying, no, 5 million for Fabio Carvalho. The Michael Edwards and his team, they have probably been given money and they've said, this is the game plan. We need to spend it on this type of player. And Michael Edwards is, he has to get like he has to get them for cheap as possible, and that's probably why we've undershot them at 5 million. So I think a lot of criticism is unfair for FSG. Because they're not the ones actually doing the deals, especially in this situation. I think for other situations it may be different because obviously they're given a larger amount of money, but because this amount is so small, it is hard to believe that Liverpool don't have that 7 million. So I'm blaming Michael Edwards and his team on the Carvalho mess up at the moment, but the fact we're not doing it is absolutely bananas. I still think it'll get done January or even summer, just because I think Harvey Elliott's going to have a nice little word with him and say, look how good I'm doing, and look at Kate Gordon, and then Harry Wilson is going to be like, oh, go there, good team and all that. So I think it'll get done, but it's just stupid not to cover our backs and prevent ourselves from losing them to another team.
Paddy, I want to just talk about a lot. There's a lot going through my mind right now. I'm trying to unpack what Charlie said there as well. I'm always willing to issue the blame to FSG, no matter if it's one of their boys. It's still an FSG problem in my head. But the ultimate aim here, Paddy, is to get everybody signed up on board, ready for next season. But I won't lie, Paddy. Every week that goes by, every day that goes by, every hour that goes by, I'm starting to think, are these fuckers really setting up to sell Mo Salah here? Is this what their end game? Is this the rebuild? Are they actually, do they have the brass neck and the stones to try and pull this off?
If they want a World War III scenario at Anfield, they'll try and sell Mo Salah, yes. There is no conceivable world. There is no universe where that is going to happen or will be allowed to happen. But on what we were talking about there, like I think we forget that Michael Edwards, he's gone at the end of the season. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, taken over.
So you'd have to wonder where his loyalty's like, because he's off to Real Madrid. Am I right?
No, hasn't been confirmed yet.
Oh, hasn't been confirmed yet, but he's going off to somewhere. So he's going to, whenever he leaves this club, he's going to leave the club with every facet of information possible. And unless they are like putting some sort of clause in, I don't know, but he could go to whatever club he goes to and then be ready to pounce. And maybe he's not. I don't know. It just seems weird. A man even at the end of the season doing business for us beyond the end of the season. There could be a conflict of interest. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, but on what you were saying there, I surely there is no possible conceivable way that they're going to let Mo Salah leave. But at the end of the day, Mo Salah and his agent, his agent loves a tweet. They're pretty clear on what their stance right now. They're not happy with the current offer on the table, or the lack of offer rather. So there's going to be some leeway. There has to be some leeway made. They have to come to an agreement, and it's not got to that right now. I'm hoping Salah or Mane can win the AFCON, but probably I think Salah is more beneficial for Liverpool because I feel like he's going to be there a lot more long term. But as soon as he comes back from AFCON, they need to sort it out because it's getting worrying now. Because the longer it goes on, more doubt's going to creep into Salah's mind. He's going to be like, well, you know what? If you don't want me here, I'm going to go. And he owes us nothing as fans. You know what I mean? He can't just be held to ransom. He's going to get the best deal for himself and his family and his agent. And yeah, as I said, if the owners want to be run out of the club, they'll not give him a deal. But we'll see what happens.
Chris, as the new voice of reason, now that Steve's on a bit of a sabbatical, mate, we're promoting you up to the sane person within the group. Look, I love a conspiracy theory with regards to transfers in my head, mate. I do. I've gone through many of them, and I love any excuse to stick the boot into FSG. But do you think that this is FSG playing one hell of a game of chess or poker with Mohamed Salah and Rami Abbas, thinking that, yeah, we don't think you can get the offers elsewhere you're talking about? Or is there a situation where they are bold, stupid, brave, whatever you want to say, enough to sell Mo?
I think what we have to realize is that none of this is like concrete. We can't go out and just say this is blatantly FSG's tactic with Mo Salah. It's all coming from our own minds, and however logical and however well informed those minds are, they are not the minds that are making this decision. I am almost certain that Mo Salah signs this contract. And that certainty has not been wavered because of all of this, flirtation. There was, I think, the first noises about it were, I can't remember if it was last season, where he spoke to Marca and started saying how much he loved Real Madrid and that. I don't believe any of it. People are stirring it a little bit beyond proportion, and I think it will be done. there is no way if it doesn't happen that FSG are let off the hook with this one, because it's an on-field issue. If we're talking about, there's been a lot of off-field issues which they've had and they've rectified, but they're going to have to do a lot to rectify this on-field issue. We didn't think there'd be a life after Coutinho. We didn't think there'd be a life after Jarrod. Yeah, Jarrod didn't get sold, but like, it's a strange one. I'm almost certain he'll get signed though, and it's difficult to keep eulogizing about it because we as I said, we're not the minds that control the deal. But I don't know. Hopefully it's all sorted as soon as AFCON's happen, but I'm still 99.9% sure it happens.
I'm just confused as to why they've let it take so long. Why the uncertainty for a club that likes certainty and likes, you know, things to be done in a particular way and bangs on about the Liverpool way so much when they're trying to flog shit. I would love to know why it's taken so long. And I just can't fathom that they let him go to the AFCON without it being done, because so many people will probably be in his ear trying to destabilise him. And I have one question for you all, though, and everybody in the chat as well. Fully on board with the Mohamed Salah contract getting signed. And I think that is probably the most likely outcome. But how do we pay for this rebuild? Because let's be honest, we'll all agree we're expecting business in the summer. We'll all agree we need business in the summer. But what we won't all agree on is how the fuck we're going to fund this business in the summer. And the only way, if history is to teach us anything here, Charlie, I'll come to you first, is that they like to flog somebody to pay for these rebuilds. They don't like to go out there and spunk 100 million quid on a rebuild and, you know, not bring in revenue from elsewhere. So that's my big question here, is if we are to believe them, if we are to look to the summer and think that 3-4 top-notch players will come in, how does it happen?
Well, I think that we can buy one on our own, like, comfortably. You know, we can put up 60-70 million of the money we just haven't spent for years. We realistically, we should be able to put up all of it on our own, but that's not the world we live in under the owners. So I think we'll be able to get one big player off that, and then I think, you know, salaries are going to be a massive issue as well. I mean, James Milner's leaving; he's on a fairly big salary,
140, I think, which is about 7 million a year.
Yeah, so James Milner's pretty much, I think he's confirmed leaving. Neil Jones confirmed that. I think Ox as well is probably going to, Ox or Keita, one of the two, I think will go.
And Nico, the one who can't play football will probably be the one that goes.
Yeah, I'm not doing this
to more goal contributions than Jadon Sancho this season.
I'm not doing this to annoy you, Chris, but I think you'll agree Nico Williams is probably off as well.
Yeah, for his own good.
Yeah, so I think in that case, a midfielder needs to come in. And look, I've never claimed to be an in the know, but I've been told by someone I trust very much that Sadio Mane will be sold at the end of the season, and I did say that. I said even before I got told.
I've heard the same thing, not from the same person. I've heard the same thing.
But I'm even before that, I think I've always said I've come on here and I've said Mane's going to be the one who's gone. You know, either if it's next year at the end of this season or the year after on a free transfer. But if Liverpool, I think, get anything over 50 million, 40 million, they snap their hands off, because, you know, it's time to replace the old guard. But they're my players who I'd probably get rid of.
The situation, Paddy, that makes me a little bit concerned as well is the fact that we have Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Thiago, Mane, Firmino. Not Thiago, excuse me. Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Salah, Mane, Firmino, all with 16/17 months to go there. So let's assume Salah gets renewed. We're still stuck with 4 players there, all of whose futures are questionable for varying reasons. And I want to start with Naby, because there's 2 trains of thought on this one. Either there are the people that said keep Naby, give him a new deal, or are the people that say cut your losses and sell. So there are pros and cons for both of them. First one would be, I don't know how comfortable I would feel about giving Naby Keita another 4 years and a wage increase after what we've seen during his time at the club and his history of injuries. And I also don't know how much we get for him if we were to sell him right now, and if they would be able to stomach the loss from the money that we paid from initially.
Yeah, well, first off, it's depressing that Liverpool are moving like prime Burnley in the transfer market as if we don't have a shekel to rub together. That's fucking beyond infuriating. And as Charlie said, we should be able to front up the whole shebang on our own. When was the last time we spent money, mate? Thiago, that's beans in today's market. Spend the money and just fucking stop talking nonsense. It's as simple as that. Okay, sorry. Anyway, on to what you were saying. The Keita one.
One of these players has laptops from PC World and we'd be grand.
Oh, mate.
Exactly. But on the one about Keita, Keita doesn't deserve an improved contract. But if Keita has any sense, if you can give Keita a new deal on basically an extension on his current deal, then I think I'm happy to do that. Absolutely, I want to keep Keita. Don't get me wrong, but absolutely no chance in hell will he be getting a wage increase because he doesn't deserve it. And so if he wants one, let him go. Mane, as I agree that I think Mane is going to be gone as well in the summer. And to be honest with you, we're all about replacing the old guard, but we don't need to replace Salah. Spot on. Firmino is not a part of the front three anymore. If he's happy to be a utility player, then happy days. We can keep him on the bench and use him sporadically or when we need him. And then Mane, it's time to go. I don't think he's good enough anymore. We need to improve. Get sell him for 50 million if you can. Happy days. Put it towards whoever his replacement fund is. So you know what I mean? Thiago, I need to keep, as you said, he's a luxury player that we can afford to keep, and he's that good that he's, fuck it, let him stay. Even if he only plays 10 games, it's just nice to watch him.
I think I'll be forever Thiago apologist, Paddy. As long as we can win for the Champions League knockout games every season, just put him in a cryogenic freezer and defrost them before the knockout stages, and I'm sound.
Yeah, just put him in a freezer, right, and then let him play the second leg of every Champions League tie. And then the final and stuff. So we're fine. Let him play the big games. Honestly, I wouldn't risk. I wouldn't although I think Thiago starts in our best midfield, I wouldn't risk him against the shit teams. With all due respect, I don't think we need to. I think what?
United.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, United at home. We don't need to play him in that. But no, genuinely, only play him in the big games. I might bold strategy, and then you're like, oh, how could you just do that? But listen, they'll find a way. But there's a lot of decisions to be made, and my mind hurts. And I just hope they sign someone to give people like the LFC transfer room things to talk about. Oh my God, we signed the player. Can you imagine the views you'd get on that video? Oh my God, we signed someone? Unreal.
Oh yeah, you lads going to be resorting to FIFA pack opening soon. I
am debating Football Manager, Chris.
I am debating Football Manager. To be fair, I'm like, what if Liverpool signed Mbappe? All of that
this
stuff.
Is what it would look like.
Ooh, imagine a fucking signing. Ooh,
Mbappe to Liverpool ? Question mark.
We picked the worst time, didn't we? Because the only 3 signings we've had in our time as a YouTube channel since we launched the YouTube channel are Ozan Kabak, Ben Davis, and Kanate. That's it.
Oh my God! What? You weren't even Thiago.
Some channel off those signs.
Thiago, you weren't there last summer.
No, we were going. We started in January the channel. So yeah,
I think your channel might be cursed. Change the name until we sign someone, then we're laughing.
LFC, not transfer room.
LFC,
Chris,
no transfer
room. To you though, Chris, I've a question for you, and I think it's a good question. So with these players, Mane, and any of the ones we're looking at potentially moving on, be it Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Mane, Firmino, I'm thinking about the ones in the last realms of their contracts right now. It's tough to gauge what the marketplace is going to be for somebody with a year to go at the end of the season, because is it going to be an Eden Hazard, somebody stupid enough to pay €100 million situation, or are we going to have our pants pulled out?
I think it all depends on what a certain club needs. For if a certain club needs a winger like Mane, like Real Madrid needed Hazard, even though he hasn't particularly done very well, then I think we will get a good amount for him. But it all depends on the individual, the buyers. It's a seller's market nowadays rather than a buyer's market. You can get ludicrous money, but at the same time, after all this COVID stuff, it's difficult to gauge, as you said. I mean, how much you said 50 million for Mane? I think we'd be lucky to get 50 million for Mane.
30, 35 in my head.
Yeah, I think we'd be lucky to make our money back on him, and not because he's a bad player. I love Sadio Mane. He's been unbelievable for Liverpool, but it's just what club? The only ones who I can see doing anything like Newcastle, clubs who are building, are going to spend 30 to 35 million pounds on a aging, declining Mane.
PSG.
He's bound to go to Barcelona.
Do you think Do you think
He may be
Liverpool
declining,
can't
but he's
afford
still
anything.
very good for
He is.
other. Like he would rip up League One until he was about 50.
He is, but PSG have got enough. They might go and sign Ousmane Dembele, who I think isn't as good as Mane, but they might. I don't see it. They've got Messi, they got Neymar, they got Mbappe.
Yeah,
Mbappe's
Mbappe's leaving. Messi's a flop, and Neymar, is Neymar.
Messi's a flop.
He has been this season.
He is, though. I get where Charlie's coming from.
How many league goals has Messi got?
You can't
How many
call
league
Messi.
goals has he
He'll
got?
come
Probably
good.
not more than
I know where you're coming from, Paddy. It is disgraceful that we're saying it, but he is right. It hasn't worked out for whatever reason.
No, but like that's the thing though with Messi though, like just them signing Messi, they're happy with the PR they've got.
Yeah, the PR.
You know what I mean? I get on a
Oxlade-Chamberlain's got more
basis.
league goals than Messi. Oxlade-Chamberlain's got more league goals than Messi.
Yeah.
So
the thing is with Dembele, the only reason that makes sense is because he's French. Like the guy's made out of cardboard at the end of the day. Like Mane goes in there and probably bags you 40 goals a season in League One, and his aggressiveness in
he would be
that
class.
league would be unbelievable, no matter how old he is. And the wage package that Dembele wants is crazy. Mane's probably only going to want half of that, and he'd still be a star. And the thing is, Dembele doesn't really bring anyone over with him. He hasn't got. Yeah, he hasn't got the fan. He hasn't got the fan following that, for instance, Mane would have. Like he'd bring over all the Senegal fans and all the people who like Senegalese people. And you know what? It's sad to look at football that way nowadays because we've done that with Takumi Minamino. It's all about business. But at the end of the day, it makes more sense for PSG to sign Mane, and for them, 30 to 40 million's absolutely nothing. I think if there's a club we sell to, it's probably most likely them.
And again, we're probably going to see a situation where Zinedine Zidane ends up their next manager as well in the summer.
Yeah, probably.
Possibly. Yeah. Can you imagine how good Mane would look at a PSG kit, though?
I was just thinking a minute ago. I just tried to be onto this here. I can see him in that kit.
He would look fresh. I don't know why. Listen, I love the man. He's been a great player for us. I love him forever. If you walk into my room right now, I tell you, Anyway, unbelievable. It's time to go and give us PSG to give us 50 million. Happy days. He'll look good. He'll tear up the league. No brainer.
Isn't Idrissa Gueye from Senegal too?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of gay, yeah.
There's the link.
And so is Diallo, the centre back.
Yeah, so there's the link.
I'm worried that this summer we won't see any transfer activity in just for Salah's contract. We need to forward desperately. Chris, I think there'll be riots if that's the case.
We will definitely sign players. I have absolutely no doubt. You got players going off the wage bill, as Charlie mentioned, in Milner. Phillips potentially leaving. Origi's leaving. He's not going anywhere, mate. He's signing a new deal.
He's fucking gone. He's already sold.
Who would have told you that by January, Oxlade-Chamberlain would have more league goals than Lionel Messi?
Chris, I played FIFA for an hour and a half the other night. I sorted out an entire transfer window.
That shows how bad the game is, mate. That shows how bad the game is.
Nah, I am behind Craig as Michael Edwards replacement.
I love
one transfer deal. I got rid of Joel Matip, signed Jude Bellingham, and managed to get rid of Oxlade-Chamberlain for Bowen.
Getting rid of Joel is harsh.
Chris. Yeah, didn't you get rid of Jones as well?
Curtis Jones?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
don't get rid of Curtis Jones, no.
Good. But yeah, see, it shows how terrible FIFA is. I'll have to say that. It's awful.
After my stream this evening, I agree.
How'd you get battered?
Is there any news on
outgoings?
Any news on outgoings, gents? And Charlie, I'll pop to you on this one first, if I may. Yesterday, myself and I think it was myself and Paddy was talking about it yesterday. Maybe it was myself and Chris. I can't remember which one of the gents it was. We spoke about the Joe Gomez situation. Paddy, was that with you?
Yes.
Yeah. We spoke about the Joe Gomez situation, Charlie. It looked like we were letting Nat Phillips leave in this window. We were all geared up as Liverpool fans to expect to see Nat Phillips move somewhere. And I still think we will only allow one centre-back to move, but myself and Paddy are of the mindset as well that if Villa did come in for Joe Gomez, it would be a good move all around.
Yeah, it'd be an absolutely amazing move. Obviously, Real Madrid will link with him as well, and Villa, but not a chance. BBC come out today. As much as BBC aren't the best, they usually aren't the best because they don't take risks, and they've said that Liverpool Liverpool aren't getting rid of Gomez this January. Didn't say anything about next summer, but that's a possibility, and I think it could happen. But just going quickly back to that super chat, and I'll come back. Ian Doyle is like one of the only Liverpool Echo journalists that are like kind of respectable. He's put absolutely his whole career on the line today by saying that Liverpool are going to have the biggest summer they've had since 2018.
He works for fucking Echo. His career's gone a long time ago.
I'm not going to say anything on that. But so that's a very interesting thing that come out today. But on outgoings, there's been a few things. The people who reported Ben Davis to Sheffield United.
Hang on a sec. You had to think about his name there, didn't you? Is it Davis or Davies? Tell the truth.
I knew it was Davis.
Little we know about this man. We don't even know his name.
I just said Davis. I hoped it was right, honestly.
Davis, isn't it not Davies?
See, I'm right. We haven't got a clue. We don't even. Have we even seen this lad?
It's Ben Davies. Ben Davies.
Okay, Ben Davies, Davis, whatever. Ben Dave. I'll call him that. Sheffield Star reported that there was interest on him moving to Sheffield United on loan. That happened, and they're now saying that they're hopeful that their good relationship with Liverpool will make them be able to get Reece Williams and Nat Phillips on loan for the rest of the season, which is absolutely bullshit. First off, maybe not the Reece Williams thing, but I'll come on to that. Sorry, stop me if I'm blabbering at any point. But the Daily Mail come out today.
I'm just going to stop you there, Charlie.
Come on. I'm always blabbering.
I saw that from a mile away.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is too obvious.
Yeah, the Daily Mail today come out and said that Newcastle are trying to get an obligation, are basically trying to get a deal for Nat Phillips where they loan him for the rest of the season, and if they stay up, then they have to buy him. Liverpool don't want that because they want to sell him. They rejected a 7 million bid from Watford, and they've already rejected a loan move from PSI to Houlden. At the time, Christian Romero was still in the works. Sevilla wanted 40 million, even though Newcastle bid 32. So Sevilla have now, they're not letting him leave this January. That's recent while we've been on the stream, apparently. So they're not letting him leave. So I'm honest, I'd back it 100% that he goes to Newcastle. Liverpool want between 10 and 15 million for him. So I can 100% see that happening this window because there's only 5-6 days left of the window. Their main centre-back target's gone, and Eddie Howe's only other option was Nat Phillips. If Watford come in and match that, who knows? But I think that's definite. And with Nat Phillips leaving, I don't think they let Reece Williams leave either. I think they keep him as the fifth choice centre-back, so that's Sheffield down the drain. But that's all that's really gone on with the outgoings for the past week or so.
So here's something. Thank you, Charlie, by the way. Here's something from Elvis Daly that said, Liverpool fans forget so quick. And I think, and if I'm wrong on this, mate, I apologise, but I think this is in relation to Joe Gomez and what Joe Gomez has done and achieved at the club. This is a situation that I know winds Paddy up, and it winds me up as well, because we don't forget. We don't forget the positive things these lads have done. But we do say, what have you done for me lately? And I think that as football fans and as a football club is a fair question, because we have been a club before that allow players to age and allow players to get contracts past their sell-by date. And football is so competitive now that I think it's okay as fans to say, mate, we love you. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Wish you a great career. But ultimately, your days at Liverpool are probably coming to an end. And I think that's fair. I think that's balanced. And I think it would be unfair to just keep him here for the sake of it and begrudge him a potential career. That's my take on it, Chris.
Exactly. And sometimes players' affairs with clubs come to a natural end. I think what we saw with Joe Gomez was a player that we could have for 15 years from when we signed him in 2015. And, you know, unfortunately for him, he's had 3 horrible, unlucky, just vile injuries, and the man's battled back so hard. It's a miracle he's still playing football, if I'm being honest with you. I wouldn't have the mental capacity to do that. And sometimes it's just fair to let him go. Gomez would, if he was around, if he got a good run of form, you know, he's just been unlucky at the same time that he's come back, and Joel Matip's been excellent. Yes, last 2 games hasn't been. And we bought in Canate. Like he's unlucky. Just let him go for his own sake. It's like Nico Williams as well. Like at the end of the season, I think he'll go because he needs to play football, and just it's natural. Players come to their natural end at football clubs, and I think it's fair enough for Joe Gomez. I wouldn't begrudge him that at all.
And one thing, Paddy, we speak about his injuries and stuff, but whoever gets him, and we touched on Villa the other day, they're getting a very experienced fella with not a lot of mileage on the clock, match-wise, at 24 years of age.
Yeah, absolutely. And apparently Elvis is saying he meant Mane, but obviously a lot of the sentiment remains the same.
Yeah.
I would double down on it for Mane, Paddy. I would double down on it and say there's absolute signs of decline.
Yeah, and there's no, as I say always, there is no room, like zero room for sentimentality in football. Because if you let sentimentality rule in your emotions, then you're going to make stupid decisions. That's just a metaphor for life in general. But, Sadio Mane in particular, he is on the decline, a visible decline.
Paddy frozen.
It wasn't just me this time. Thanks. I was thinking, oh, it's just me.
I am. So,
Paddy, I got ostriches.
Oh, the boot's on the other foot now.
Oh, John, shower me.
I've been done dirty with my own. There's clearly my internet said there's no room for connection either, and decided to abandon me. But yeah, again, what I was saying, Mane is he's shit now. I'm sorry.
I won't go.
He's got to go, blood. He's got to go.
Oof, that's
FSG. I mean, that was Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane plugged me out there to stop me the slander.
Wouldn't go that far.
Oh, no, he's not shit. I apologize. I apologize. That is a poor choice of words. But other words could be used for the same sentiment.
To back up what Paddy has said there, he is on the decline. I would fully back what Paddy said on that one. And I also think of the three, and this was the clincher for me, he's the easiest to replicate if you're looking for a player.
Yeah. I mean, look, let's not forget that Sadio has improved massively since being with us. I think he's had a bit of a plateau. When he first came in, he was great. He did miss a lot of chances, but then he became this sort of clinical, dynamic monster, goal-scoring machine that won us the Champions League and Premier League. He was a massive part in that. And then now he's just sort of come a natural decline. He's still very, very good. I think he's still got 10 Premier League goals this season, which is better than last season. So actually he's on a little bit of an upward curve from last season. And what
Chris, hang on there now. Last season we were absolutely shite for a good part of the season.
It is true, but so was he. He was even worse last season than he has been this season. Like, he was terrible. And the thing is, if Mane had 3 years left on his contract, I'd have no problem with keeping him around. Okay, I still think he's got a lot to offer, but he's got 2 years, 18 months left on his contract. Like, it makes financial sense for Liverpool to sell him in the summer, whether it's to 30, 50, whatever. It just makes sense. And for, whoever the powers that be don't see that, then that's just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie, one thing we've spoken about, players maybe in, players coming out, players maybe renewing, but one thing that I wonder is playing on all of their minds is the manager situation. If you're looking at Mohamed Salah right now and he's sitting down trying to negotiate, I think it would be naive of us not to believe that he's asking questions about, obviously, recruitment, but he's also asking questions about who's going to be my manager in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if it was 3 years, people wouldn't have this issue with the whole Klopp thing, because in 3 years, Salah's 33, 34, that could be the end of him. Like, he could be on a spiral downward. Hopefully not, but it's 2 years isn't as long when you look at it, but 3 to 4 is ages away. So it's a difficult one, and I think with the talk of Pep Lijnders replacing him isn't helping either. Just because they're not on the same level, are they? Pep Lijnders is a great assistant manager, but the only experience we have with Pep Lijnders is watching him fail a Dutch club, was it? Yeah, so
it is a bit harsh though. Like they were in a messy situation when he went.
Oh
there.
yeah. But it's if he can't succeed there, is he going to succeed at Liverpool? I know the infrastructure behind him is different, and he'll be used to everything. But It is a difficult one. I still think Klopp's going to extend personally. Paddy's having a nightmare.
Paddy v green screen is a battle for the ages.
I need a tripod. I need to buy a tripod. I'm so sorry. This is very amateur. I'd like to apologize for my show tonight. Don't pay me. It's fine.
Breaking the illusion that we're not sitting in some studio somewhere here, Paddy. Do you know what I mean? Like match of the day.
That jarred me, by the way. That jarred me. I genuinely thought for like 18 years that match of the day studio actually looked like it did. I didn't think it was green.
You never questioned.
Green, isn't it?
Yeah,
I know. It's incredible, isn't it?
Never questioned why it changed every single year and why it looked like a bigger room.
Yeah, listen, logic doesn't apply.
Fair enough. Forgot what I was saying.
Sorry.
I'm not even going to try and bullshit it. I don't even know what I was saying.
Let me put this to you, Charlie. What about the dream team of Jarrod coming in, but keeping Pep Linders, Beale, and keeping Gary Mack with him there if he came in?
Yeah, only issue is I don't think Jarrod leaves in 2 years or 2.5 years. Is it? Well, yeah, 2.5 years. So I just don't think.
I think he does if we come calling though.
Depending on.
I'd go as far as say I think it's in his contract.
Depending on the situation, I think if Villa are really, I think if they're a settled top 4 team, I think he does, or at least a settled top 6 team. But I think if he's still building, if he's still, pushing to that top 6, top 4, I don't think he'll leave until, his goal is done, which I think his goal will be to finish in the Champions League spots. So I can't see that happening unless Liverpool come in with a really healthy, contract. The only issue is as well is the owners, not just Klopp. Are the owners going to be around? We know that there's been bids from the richest man in Asia for Liverpool over the years. I think the most recent one was in 2020 or 2019 for 3 billion. So the likelihood is he's going to come back in, with FSG have, they've done the AXA training centre. They'll have done 2 stands by then. They will have made a lot of money from Liverpool. Did they finally say, okay, I can't take this club any further. Will I cash in this 5 billion? I bought the club for, what was it? 300 million or something. Yeah, 300 million. Will I cash in and, say, thank you very much, Liverpool. Here's your billionaire or your actual billionaire owner who can put money into your club. Not too sure. I think if they do anything stupid in between that, like selling Mo Salah, the club, they might be forced out on their own. But yeah, going back to Jarrod, I like to go off track if you haven't noticed. Going back to Jarrod, I'm not 100% sold on him. I just want Klopp to extend another year so it can be 10 years. I don't know if that's my OCD or if I just, 10 sounds better than 9 years, doesn't it?
One thing I want to put to Paddy and Chris before we finish up is we've seen FSG speaking a lot about this now being FSG 3.0. And I want to know as a Liverpool fan what the fuck FSG 3.0 means for us, because we've already got their focus across a lot of different franchises, brands, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like those are only going to increase moving forward. So as a Liverpool fan, I just want to know, what does that mean for us? Are they bored of us now? Do they think they're just going to sit here, tread water, hope Champions League keeps coming in, and eventually they will hit whatever their tipping point is, Chris, to sell the club?
I think what we can expect is more of the same. I'm not thinking that it's going to be a massive change. We'll still continue this focus on buying young players and developing them. And look, I'm not going to complain about that. We've had some of our best signings ever under Fenway Sports Group and under Jurgen Klopp. But yeah, I don't think FSG 3.0. I think it's just some flashy PR name, whatever they like to do. They will be more invested in the Pittsburgh Penguins and obviously their original investment, the Red Sox, because it's their old clothes and their new clothes. Liverpool are sort of the awkward middle brother. And look, sometimes it and I do think that they will sell eventually, because someone will be mad enough to pay the money that they want, because it is a massive franchise and it is guaranteed cash cow. But at the same time, I just think that they'll be happy to continue as we are because it's good for them. They're green on the bank balance at the end of the day.
True. Paddy, I have an idea in my head, and it kind of plays into what Chris was saying there. I think they're going to wait until Liverpool get to a value that they feel they can then throw enough weight and capital behind to buy what they really want. And let's be honest, they really want that NFL money because that is what basically a knighthood is in America, getting to own an NFL franchise. That lovely roped off money every season, no relegation, no promotion, all that wage, Paddy. I think that's what they really want here.
Yeah, and this thing that's exactly what it is now. The good analogy by Chris, we're the awkward middle brother. Like we are someone who is just a cash cow for them. We are making the money without them having to really exert themselves anymore, and that's why they're as much as we're thankful that they're building onto the stand and redeveloping and stuff. They're not doing it for their own health. They're doing it because it increases the value of the asset. And I've never actually thought about that before. And it's a good shout that NFL, as you said, it's like the American knighthood. It's like the be all and end all. It's guaranteed money. It's a closed off system, which they love. And I feel like the whole no to the Super League thing may have scuppered their plans a lot, and that's why we've kind of seen a stifling in the progression, because maybe they had a plan to we go with that, but now that's not. Now they're just probably really going to home in on the Americanized style of it and probably aim for the NFL. But they also have those Pittsburgh Penguins, which will be their new baby now, which they'll put all their attention to. So it's going to be an interesting one. As Ian Doyle, he said, made that report. So seemingly we're going to get a big summer, but I reckon that'll probably be our last big summer under FSG. They'll do that, give us a bit of improvement, and then hope Klopp can win another title or Champions League, and then feck off right into the sunset and sell us for a few billion to that rich Asian man, please.
Yeah, I mean, on this, Charlie, I feel like I've heard we're going to have a big summer stuff from Melissa Reddy previously a few years ago, before COVID hit, in fairness to Melissa, who I think is an outstanding journalist. I feel like I've heard this song before, mate, and I'm a bit cynical. But if it happens and they live up to it, I'll be the first one on here to say fair's fair.
Yeah, look, as much as I respect other journalists, and it's a cruel world out there in the journalism game, but how many years has James Pearce said that we're going to buy someone in the summer? Like, it's going to be a big summer. Not in January. It's going to be a big summer, and not just James Pearce. Or the journalists, as you said, Melissa Reddy, people from the Echo, David Lynch, Maddock, Dave Maddock. So it's it is it's a rinse and repeat that we hear every year, isn't it? I do think though that we are going to sign some players this January. By summer, hopefully 4. I think we need at least 3-4 players to really
I think it's summer, not January. Definitely
summer. To really push for the league. And again, look, City dropping points against Southampton has helped us a bit as well. We're still in all 4 competitions. Are we going to win the quadruple? Unlikely. But I look at the team now, and after the next game, everyone's back. Harvey Elliott, Origi, Thiago, Mane, Keita, Salah. So it could be on. We could win a quadruple out of absolutely nothing, which is bananas to think, because 2 weeks ago it was all over when we lost against West Ham and Leicester. Not 2 weeks ago, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it is bad to think that, but who knows? We have to wait until summer to see what happens and if people are telling the truth.
Gentlemen, it's been tons of fun. I wish again we'd more happy news to share with people. But for those that are coming in late, basically we started off by having a little moan about the Sadio Mane incident, the fact he was allowed to stay on the pitch. We obviously gave our best wishes and condolences to those who lost their lives outside the Cameroon game. We touched on Luis Diaz, who was, Spurs are in conversations with, and we talked about Fabio Carvalho and all the other bits and pieces as well. But I'm going to go over now and give another FIFA masterclass on Twitch from 10 o'clock. I'm expecting Bateson and all the lads to be watching, taking notes. par for the course. But look, massive thank you to Chris, to Paddy, and to Charlie from LFC Transfer Room. Make sure you get over there because they will have a transfer to talk about someday. You know, there will be one. Really, really hard. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Paddy. Thank you to you guys. Hope to see you on Twitch. I'll be over there in 10 minutes. So get over. And then when you're finished, get over to Paddy and make sure you're following and sub to Paddy on Twitch as well. Mr. Paddy Murphy. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. And thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.
Take care.